Cold War space race. 16 nations, including Britain, are involved in the project. Here's our Moscow correspondent Mark Webster.
This flawless liftoff marks the start of a whole new era in space exploration. As the giant Proton rocket blasted off from the Baikonur Center, the relief of the Russians was obvious. Their credibility as a partner in the most ambitious international space project ever was at stake. Now they can prepare for what a British-born astronaut said would be landings on other planets.
What we're going to do today is launch the first step, the first stage in what we're going to do when we go from not only the space station around the Earth orbit, but also to the Moon and then onto Mars. And that is really the feeling that you see around here in Baikonur.
Over 200 miles above the Earth, the American space shuttle Endeavour will bring the next section in 2 weeks' time. The shuttle's mechanical arm will attach a connecting passageway. For years, this will be a gigantic space building site. It'll take more than 1,000 hours of spacewalks to bolt it all together. The space station could take more than 7 years to build. Next month, Zarya and Unity will be joined. By July 1999, the living quarters will be added. 2 years later, the huge solar panels will provide power for experiments. And in 2005, the space station should be complete. Russia's economic problems mean this project's already more than a year behind schedule. So this successful launch will have brought an even louder sigh of relief from here in the Kremlin. Nonetheless, this is also an historic piece of international cooperation by the former Cold War enemies. It means that early in the year 2000, 2 Russian cosmonauts and 1 American astronaut will be the first of many to live and work on the space station. Construction of other parts of the station is well underway. It could stay in orbit around the Earth for at least 20 years. A giant floating laboratory which will serve as mankind's eyes into the secrets of the universe. Mark Webster News at 10, Moscow.
A remarkable medical first has brought hope for parents who discover that their unborn baby has the crippling condition spina bifida. Doctors in America successfully operated on such a baby in its 23rd week while he was still in his mother's womb. Noah Kipf-Miller was born 7 weeks later, and doctors are very pleased with his development. Here's our health correspondent Helen Wright.
At just 6 months old, Noah Kipf-Miller is already a surgical pioneer, the first child ever to have an opening exposing his spinal cord repaired while still in the womb. 20 weeks into his mother's pregnancy, a scan identified spina bifida, but also showed that Noah could still move his legs. Doctors knew they had to operate early to preserve that leg function and prevent possible lifelong paralysis. So as he lay in the womb, they worked to protect the cord.
You're trying to use the surrounding tissues there in the back and then basically sew things up so that the developing spinal cord has some element of protection.
6-year-old Stephen has spina bifida. His mother was told about his condition 27 weeks into her pregnancy. She says had the operation been available then, she would have had it.
Well, it would help in some ways, but Stephen is still Stephen and we wouldn't change him for the world. If it could go some way to help him with the kidney problems and the medical problems that come with it, then yes.
Doctors here say the operation is exciting, but that much more research needs to be done. And they believe it could be 10 years before the procedure's performed in the UK.
I think we have to understand that this is only one case, and the whole technique would have to be evaluated over some time with numerous other children.
Noah has not been cured, but so far his spina bifida is less severe, though his doctors say as the operation is so new, it'll be some time before they establish if the improvement is permanent. Helen Wright, News at 10.
And we take a glimpse inside the home of the future, unveiled by scientists in America. Forget having to draw the curtains, secure the locks or light the fire by yourself. This house knows when to do all of that and much more, whether you're there or not. It's all down to computers, of course, but not in the way that you'd expect. Andrea Catherwood explains how in tonight's special report.
Mom, look what grade I got on my paper.
That is so good. I am so proud.
This mum can help her kids with their homework wherever she is, in another room or working late at the office, through portable computer technology.
This is one vision of the home of the future, with video screens linking every room in the house. Or via phone lines to anywhere else in the world.
It's being developed at microchip makers Intel on America's West Coast, along with internet on television and 3D shopping online.
We think that we'll see computing power, maybe not computers, but computing power kind of spread itself all over the home, anywhere in the home, to allow you to do things that maybe just add value, make your life just a little bit simpler, a little bit more interesting.
Like the breakfast pad, a touch-operated screen with the kind of information you might want to start the day. Your newspaper, your diary, and live pictures of the traffic conditions on your route to work. These things could be in our homes in just a few years' time. On the east coast of the United States, at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, they're looking further ahead, embedding mini computers in anything from toys to tins of food to create things that think.
This smart coffee machine knows who I am, how I like my coffee, and even what radio station I want to listen to while it's being made.
It's 5 o'clock. I'm Catherine Jones.
The machine recognizes me by a microchip underneath my mug, but in the future it could use my voice or my face.
It's part of a project called Counterintelligence.
The whole form of the computer has to change when it goes off the desktop and into the kitchen. We're starting to think about what happens if you put a computer in a coffee cup or a computer in a bowl.
Already they've created counters that tell you what ingredients you need and weigh them for you. And this is just the beginning.
When you're walking home, if you were carrying 2 bags of groceries and it were just pouring buckets of rain, when you get up to the front door, you don't want to be there fumbling for your metal keys trying to open a rusty lock. The door should see you, unlock itself. The house should warm itself up a little bit more because it knows what the weather's doing and it knows that you're probably soaked through. I mean, that's not too much to ask.
Computer,
I'm already listening.
turn on all the lights.
In this room, the walls not only have ears, they have eyes and also a voice. Michael Cohen has designed it to respond to his commands.
Play the VCR.
But will we all live like this one day?
It's sort of analog to what happened when indoor plumbing and indoor electricity were introduced into people's homes. They were initially regarded as somewhat frivolous, and no one really could have predicted the way they would have revolutionized the way people live.
He sees a future where the only limitation to what computers can do for us will be our own imagination.
Computer, go to sleep.
Going to sleep.
Andrea Catherwood, News at 10, Boston.